Welcome to Chasing Rings, everyone. Back with the fellas. What's up? G, big dude.
Gentlemen.
All
What's
right.
going on?
Well, big dude, we'll start with you with the weight. What?
All right. Well, we are going over our draft, and we're going over the value and how we thought that people did. And I tried to find out what was a little bit different from this draft than the others. Nothing necessarily historical, but of all the different picks we had and all the different things that have happened, did you know that this is, I want to call it Big Beauty's Day? You know what I call Big Beauty? The offensive linemen, especially the tackles, because of the 32 picks in the first round, 9 picks were from offensive linemen this year. 9 picks.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I thought I told you that I thought there was a lot of linemen were going to go early.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially picks 9 through
Because
12.
I didn't feel like it was that deep of a lineman draft, but that's interesting.
Yeah, mostly tackles. A couple of guards. The first inside person was Awani.
Okay. All right. Well, I have one for you guys. Did you know that there are 15 Pro Football Hall of Famers who were undrafted free agents?
Wait, what?
Wow.
So, we've been
15.
talking a lot
Wow.
about undrafted free agents. The fact that there's that many in the Hall of Fame is insane.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I have a weight what is on the total opposite end of that.
All right. Kick the ballistics, G.
So did you all know that in 1976, the Washington Redskins didn't have a pick until the 5th round? And
Wait,
almost
what?
none of the picks made the roster. And the one that did got little to no playing time. But that's
Wow.
not worse.
Wow.
Did you know
Wow.
what? Did you know that there was something worse than that? That was the 75 Kansas City Chiefs, where they had 11 picks. And out of all of that, 38 total rushing yards in one season, and pretty much everybody was bounced off the team.
That's
Wow.
crazy.
It's
How did
crazy.
how about that Washington? Wasn't that 76 Washington team pretty good? Why do I feel?
I don't know. I didn't look to see if they were good. I was just really looking at how that draft went. So that would have been, that would have either been the 76 or 77 when they actually played.
So yeah, they were 10-4 in 76. It looks like they got a wild card. You check the 77 team. They were 9-5. So not too bad, not terrible given that draft situation, but that's crazy.
The people they drafted made zero impact.
That's crazy. I would love to see if it's become more impactful in the modern era as opposed to then, because I would imagine that whoever probably was the top picks probably were the only people that even made the teams back then. But it would be an interesting case study to see how that panned out.
Probably.
I know George Allen did not like rookies when he was coaching with the Redskins.
And that was the philosophy of a lot of coaches back then.
They did not like rookies.
Yeah. Crazy. All right, man, let's get into our news. Just a few quick ones tonight before we get back into our analysis. Houston, Texas linebacker Azeez Al-Shaair, one of my favorite guys, even though he gets a bad rap sometimes, agreed to a 3-year extension with the Texans. So good for their defense and good for him. Keep that continuity. He wore the green dot for them, and they were the number 1 ranked total defense, number 2 ranked in scoring. He had 103 tackles, 2 interceptions, and 9 pass deflections. So earned that contract and that money. And sometimes he even called the plays when the opposing offense was in the hurry up. So good for him. Good for Houston. NFL officials, we are close to a collective bargaining agreement, gentlemen. So we may not have to deal with the replacement officials. The NFL actually distributed crew assignments to their regular referees this week, which means that they are definitely close to rectifying that CBA. So, I mean, we're not fans of the officials as is, but we certainly don't want the replacement ones out there if we can help it. So that's a relief. And our final news item, this is huge, and we'll probably dedicate one of our off-season shows to this at some point, this whole streaming service and their partnerships with the leagues. But Duke basketball is entering the first of its kind partnership with Amazon. So for the upcoming season, Amazon's going to stream 3 of their big games. The first one will be against UConn in Las Vegas on November 25th. So that's around that Thanksgiving time where, basketball has all those great tournaments and matchups in the early season. Then the following month, right before Christmas, they are going to stream the Michigan game at Madison Square Garden. So 2 neutral sites and then a third neutral site on February 20th against the Zags in Detroit. So this is going to open up a lot of NIL opportunities for Duke athletics in general, but it's also Amazon's first foray into college sports. So this is going to be interesting. And as we know, they've had the NFL, they do the prime Thursday games, and they had Thursday night football actually through 2033. So we need to keep our eye on what's happening with these streaming services, because I think that people have started to cut the cord with cable. And now that people have cut the cord and found other ways to consume sports, now you might be stuck with having to subscribe to these streaming services to see your team. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. So that is it in news. Let's get into our first of our remaining 16 teams tonight. The Vegas Raiders, who had the first pick in the draft. G, you want to set us off tonight?
Yeah, the Raiders, they met all their needs. They got one, need met in the first 3 rounds, but nevertheless, they still had some top 5 picks. They had some picks that were ranked positionally between 6 and 10. But man, they got like 3 steals in places that weren't necessarily all high need, but good gracious. Jamad McCoy, cornerback out of Tennessee, ranked number 3, got him in the 4th round, number 3 cornerback. Mike Washington Jr. Now that I was really watching where this young man would go. Out of Arkansas, round 3, got him. Then Dalton Johnson, the safety, he was ranked 15th safety, and they got him in round 5. So while I will say with their needs, except for cornerback and quarterback, they did really, really well. But they just went out and got them, got that running back and that safety, and they were just hanging out there and like, you know what, I'm going to get those skilled guys. And that really helped. So, I am totally not mad at Vegas at all in the way they approached it.
All right. What did you think of Vegas's draft, Big Dude?
Actually, I thought it was an outstanding job of drafting prospects across the board and adding to the squad with people that can contribute. I think Mendoza, even though this is not the draft we think is the strongest draft, I think Mendoza in good shape working with Kirk Cousins and Kubiak being his coach. I think that's going to work out well. They also picked up the center, Trey Zune III, inside lineman. I think he can play center or guard from Texas A&M. They have a good squad. And let's see. Also, there's also Stooks, strong defensive prospects, Crawford and McCoy. Of course, at corner must stay healthy. But I think as long as he stays healthy, I think that the Raiders will be that much better. They could have probably gotten maybe one more lineman, but I think that they made some good picks, as G said, regardless of, what people think of Mendoza. Mendoza is going to be fine. The question is going to be are they going to start off with Mendoza or are they going to start off with Kirk Cousins? But I think the Raiders did a fine job meeting their needs and also getting ready for some young players to really come in more than Mendoza to come in and help early.
Yeah, I agree with both of you. I think the Raiders did a fantastic job with their draft. I wanted to point out, they got your guy Traydon Stoops, who you introduced to us with
They
your
Yeah.
did.
top 5 safeties. I saw that. Saw that they got your guy, so I appreciate that. They definitely got some steals late. G mentioned McCoy in Washington. I also wanted to point out I really like Malik Benson, the wide receiver from Oregon. I think that's a great
Mm.
6th-round pickup. He may not be impactful immediately, but I think this is a guy with a lot of upside. But I really like what they did throughout the draft. I agree with the last statement that Big Dude made. I would have liked to seen them get another lineman in there. Maybe they um, deal with that in undrafted with the undrafted free agents. But other than that, I think they did their thing. And just a side note, their defense was not horribly low statistically, 14th total and against the pass and 17th against the run. So middle of the road. And they picked up some nice pieces that should improve both those categories. So great job for the Raiders.
Looks like they got 26 million cap space left. I'm looking at one of these cap space websites.
Yeah,
So,
I can't wait till this second round of free agency kicks off. I probably need to look at those numbers again. I haven't really checked to see who has what left, but that'll dictate if these teams who did not get what they needed during the draft are going to be able to fill those needs with the rest of the free agent market, or do they need to go UDFA on that? So, Big Dude, kick us off with the Chargers.
Chargers, they made some solid picks, mostly offense that'll make a difference. Definitely, defense, of course, was Akeem Mesidor that everyone's been talking about. They've been talking about him and talking about Bain. I actually thought Mesidor would be in the same spot Bain is in with Tampa Bay, and I thought Bain would be earlier, right around number 10, but it didn't work out that way. And I think it worked out tremendous for Akeem Mesidor. I think he's ready to go and ready to contribute, 25 years old, ready to go. And G, you were giving me that, man. Jake Slaughter, man. I mean, that can play center and play guard from Florida. They picked him in the second round. I don't think he was projected to go that high, but he did, and they saw what you saw. And, great pick. And also, while they got Mesidor, they were a little bit light on the impact defensive players. Solid O-lineman, a little light on it. I think they could have used another Mesidor in that part to go in the defensive line rotation. I think they were missing that, but they did a pretty solid pick. And then at the end, getting guards, especially from Boston College and Oregon, that they're probably pretty solid. That is Logan Taylor and Alex Hartkey. So solid draft for the Chargers.
So they have 47 million in cap space still. So I'm saying that because I really don't think that they effectively used their draft picks. I mean, I thought they did good round 1, round 2. They got a steal, in round 4 with Genesis Smith. So I think they really did good in those particular places. But I mean, I didn't really look much at Thompson at wide receiver. I'm really not sold on those two guards at the bottom of the list. Travis Burke, I actually thought I went back and looked at him, and I can see why they picked him up. But I still thought that there would probably be some better offensive tackles on the board at that particular time, if I recall. But nevertheless, overall, I would say, they did good at the top, and they did get him a good steal in the 4th. But they have a lot of cap space. So if they're finding something is not working in this second go round of free agency, they have some money to throw at some good offensive linemen and get somebody else on the edge, because you can never have too many of those.
Yeah, that's a nice stash for free agency, especially since a lot of heavy spenders probably have already blown their money, so they should be able to get their pick of the best players left. So good for them. I think the Chargers had a good draft. Something I wanted to bring up, again, you nailed it, because if you recall, you had 2 Arizona DBs in your cornerback and safety top fives. And I don't know if you guys realize it, this would have been a great wait. What actually, Arizona had 4 DBs drafted in this draft,
Oh,
which
wow.
ties a record.
Don't
Yeah.
surprise me, man.
Wow.
Who would have ever thought? Because I mean, they didn't stand out as a team this season,
No.
but they obviously had some talent on that field. But
Yeah.
yeah, I thought the Chargers did very well. I liked the early part of their draft, and not so much the back end. But I do think the 2 guards give them some depth. And again, I feel like this is a common theme whenever we talked about the Chargers. Some of the problems they had with the O line last year, with injuries, and of course they released Mekhi Becton. So you know what that's about. No one still picked them up yet. So they got some depth on the offensive line. And remember, I know Big Dude mentioned in a couple episodes that they lost Odafe Awa, the edge. So they did, replace him with Messidor. So that'll help at least on that one side. But they had a good draft. Probably better than people realize. But I do wonder what their free agency approach will be given all of that cash they have. So stay tuned for the Chargers. Let's get into those Los Angeles Rams, a rich team that really, I mean, I don't know how rich they got, but I'll save that.
I'm
G,
sure G will tell us in a second.
I'm just about to say, that's why I said we'll start with G there.
Okay.
The Rams.
Okay, so they still have 28 million on their cap. So I mean, they can't throw a boatload, but I mean, they can get. But depending on what their needs are, and I'm going to go through that, they may get 1 or 2 of them out of this 28 million, but we'll see. So they only met 2 of their top 5 needs: wide receiver, offensive line. But I thought that they did a pretty good job there. Let me move down here. I thought they did a pretty good job with that. I do like CJ Daniels, at least there. So I think that he'll probably work his way into it. I didn't really see him coming out being a starter, but I also think that I do think he'll make the team, and he has some growth where he'll be okay. Keegan Truss, the offensive tackle out of Missouri, I thought that was a good get. Now what they did do, now I don't know if y'all look at Ty Simpson as a steal or not.
No.
In some ways I don't, but in some ways I do, because he's going to be sitting and learning. And the concerns that I have with him, sometimes the mental game with him, either he's shooting his shot too quickly or he's running and holding too long. I think he's going to learn his way out of that, or he very well could. So I will say that I think based on the three quarterbacks they have with the Rams, this could be a good spot for them, especially long term. So I'm going to call it a steal because I'm just a positive person. But Max Clare, out of that, right, that was one of my men coming out of Ohio State. Now, here's the thing. When at Purdue, I think it's Purdue, he was catching more as a tight end. He blocked more at Ohio State. So thank God he's with the Rams, because they're going to throw it to him. And I only wish the best for that young man. So I kind of end with that. I do think they'll probably get some edge help. I wouldn't be surprised they'll go for either that or linebacker with the free agency, 20 some odd million. They may be able to get two really quality ones, but we shall see.
I'm going to disagree with G some. Well, first, before I disagree with G, and I won't go through all the players, it's really not a whole lot. First of all, I don't think the Rams needed a whole lot. They had needs, but they're pretty good. I mean, the Rams are pretty close, and that doesn't mean that you don't draft responsibly. I see what their long-term plan is with Simpson. The tough part is you have a 38-year-old quarterback, and it's a win-now thing.
Right.
I like the development. I'm not sure if I use a development on a first-round pick at 13. I just cannot justify that in my mind or otherwise. I think that, only one O-lineman is understandable. I think you could, again, get 2 because they are going to have to look at who to block And I do agree with you on Max Clare, especially looking him up. I think Clare is a surprise of the draft amongst the tight ends altogether. So I also noticed they didn't have edge rushers. I think they could have used a fresh edge rusher or two. Obviously, they're going to do their free agency, and I haven't looked at their undrafted free agency. There's probably someone out of there as well. I thought it was a draft of basic necessity. I don't think they tried real hard. I was not impressed at all what the Rams did. I'm not so sure that I would even say the draft, other than Ty Simpson, was average. Ty Simpson is the only thing, I guess, because of how you look at it, that may make them average. I would say, since they forgot getting an edge rusher and missed out on that, because I think that the season is going to end with somebody getting sacked. I would not put them at a satisfactory draft grade. They did not accomplish much.
Yeah, not happy with what the Rams did at all. I don't think they drafted anyone that will impact a team that is ready to win now.
Right.
Their draft made no sense to me whatsoever. Mm-hmm. The Ty Simpson pick, believe it or not, I am going to say I don't like it at 1, big dude. I totally agree with you. But I think it's a good pick to pick up a quarterback given where Stafford is in his career. Mm-hmm. Simpson is a high IQ guy. Like G said, if you can coach him out of some of his bad habits and he can learn, that might work for them in 3 years. But to not pick up anybody that can impact you and take you to that next step for a team that was in the NFC Championship game last year is extremely puzzling. In my last piece, Max Clare, love him, but I don't for the life of me understand why they picked the tight end when they have Colby Parkinson and Tyler Higbee both at tight ends. Unless they're planning to release somebody, which you would think they would have done that already. What is the plan? I don't think they're all of a sudden going to become a running team and be hitting you with, these multiple tight end sets like New England used to. So I can't wait to see what that's about. But wasn't happy with what they did at all. Big dude, you want to take us into the Miami Dolphins?
Yes. Well, I thought the Dolphins had a good draft, actually a very good draft, with some outstanding impact players. Many of the people that we talked about, we talked about Caden Proctor, which was a real surprise for me. I mean, I knew that Caden Proctor in my mind might get drafted in the first round, but I was thinking late teens, early 20s. 25 at latest, because of all the questions people had about his weight and conditioning, which his weight is one thing, but I think in the combine, you saw that his conditioning was actually pristine for someone that size. Then, of course, Chris Johnson is who we've looked at that kind of, was in fourth place the whole time, like in an Indy race, and just took the race at the end, and I think everybody saw him doing that, with what he wants to do, how he wants to contribute with the team, his maturity, and his ability also to run with people in the slot and run with receivers. Smart player, and I think is ready to contribute, and I think could take somebody's spot. And, of course, you all know how I feel about Jacob Rodriguez. I think in this defense, I think it's a really good defense for him. He has the tools that he has. They'll probably blitz him more than they had in all these other ones. That's why I'm glad they got somebody like Johnson, so they understand the blitz is coming and the coverages are coming. So very well balanced with a playmaker, of course, with Chris Bell and a couple of linebackers. I think they could have used one more playmaker or game changer, somebody else that also, and I'll have to go back and take a look again. I know that Chris Johnson is also a special teams mogul. I'm not so sure how much he returns kicks, but I know he is a gunner on punt coverage. So you have a lot of players, a lot of good enthusiasm, and a lot of folks that are ready to contribute. I think Malik Willis needs one more person that can stretch the field, and it would make it not a perfect draft, but a tremendous draft. So I very, very much like this draft. Like I said, short of tremendous, a very good and just about outstanding draft for me, with the diversity of players and the diversity of needs met. That adds up to a good formula for me.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you, big dude. It's definitely short of outstanding to me. I will definitely give them very good. Not much to add to what you said. They got 1.8 million left in cap, so I don't think they're going to be. Yeah, I don't think they're going to be able to really do much. But when you look at the needs they had, they filled them, and they filled them very, very well. So we'll see how it goes. I definitely like the top of their picks. More than the bottom, but except for, I will say Kyle Lewis at 138. He was out of Pittsburgh, linebacker. I thought that was a steal. Michael Taffy, I hope I pronounced his name correctly, safety out of Texas. I don't know how he fell, but he did. So I thought they did really, really good with those particular catches in the later rounds. But overall, yeah, not outstanding, but I thought they did very good.
Mm-hmm. What about Kazmir, your tight end from Ohio State?
I definitely thought he was good. They normally kind of interchange their tight ends, so they used him for blocking. So he can block, but he's not as good of a catcher as the other one, in my opinion, anyway.
Okay.
Matter of fact, oh God, I think that where did I go? I lost him. I actually think Max. If you go back and watch some of his
Max
route
Clear.
running, he's actually really good. And
Mm-hmm.
I can actually see him playing tight end sometimes, but also I can actually see them spreading him out at times because
Mm-hmm.
I think he just runs those type of routes and he has hands. He has hands. So they kind of they're different tight ends from my assessment.
I think Miami did excellent. And I'm not even going to address the top of the draft. There's nothing to discuss there. Nailed the first four picks. But I think their draft is excellent because I like the Chris Bell pick. You guys know I was big on him.
Yeah.
I like the Kyle Louis pick, the linebacker from Pittsburgh, G mentioned. And of course, I like Michael Taft. I
Mm-hmm.
think that those guys will be able to have impact immediately. And when we had talked about Michael Taft originally with our top five, because I had him as my fifth ranked safety, I thought that maybe he would get his break on special teams. But in looking at their depth chart, he's got a significant chance to possibly start for
Wow.
Miami. Now, the big thing with him, he's a little undersized, but for I think what he lacks in size, he makes up for with his football IQ. So we'll see what happens as camp opens and what they see and how he adjusts to the speed of the NFL. But
He
you're
was a
playing
high
for
tackle
Texas.
guy, wasn't he?
Say that again.
He was a high tackle guy, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was very much a ball hawk type of guy. I think I mentioned in my review of him that he made a lot of plays to close games out, whether it was making a tackle, deflecting a pass, getting an INT. So, he's the guy you want in big games and big moments. So that's my
Mm.
thoughts on Miami. The Minnesota Vikings. Gee, what do you think about the Vikings draft?
Oh, Vikings. I guess the top line would be. Eh, I thought it was average. I thought that. Just on paper, they got four of their five top needs. Didn't have any position ranked persons in the top five. They did have between 6 and 10. They did get Demond Claiborne out of Wake Forest. I thought that was really good catch in the fourth round. I say, but the rest, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. This doesn't sound real analyst like, but the rest, I just don't get it. I didn't think they made the best use of their resources, but they did get a good running back, out of it all. Oh, 16 million in cap space, so they may go out
Okay.
and get a wide receiver with that.
Gotcha. Well, you know what, G? I think I'm with you pretty much. I say an average draft. Good picks. Now, I'm going to say I'm very leery of Caleb Banks because I just don't know whether he is really ready. He has the ability all of his highlights and his film, and I think I've seen him play in some of the games. It's been awesome. Just not sure how he's going to hold up and how much they're going to trust him. So I think they better make him rotational. He's probably a first and second down D lineman, but we'll see how that works. I still can't believe, and I know I've said it 100 times, people don't understand the old cultural reference of a broken record, but I don't want to keep sounding like that. I cannot believe they passed on Thieneman. I just cannot believe it. I cannot. As much as the Vikings are trying to get over the top, the Vikings, again, are coming up to the top, but they're not knocking the top off of there. You have to knock the top off of there with this person that's going to be, I think, a leader at some point on defense, from what they had. They have to move on. They ended up getting, the safety from Miami. Not that he's not going to be good, Jacoby Thomas, but I think, though, when you got a chance to get somebody like Thieneman, that you do it. You have a choice to make. So not really a whole lot on the edge that they had other than that. And they couldn't use maybe one other up-and-coming playmaker. They have the running back, as G said, and actually some other solid players on defense. But I think you need another playmaker, probably a third receiver, kick return person that's going to help change the game. So that's what I say, Vikings, Gerald. Very average.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I have them maybe slightly above average, just slightly based on the 5th and 6th round picks. Charles Demings, I think, is going to be a baller. And I think Damon Claiborne that G mentioned, I think they're going to be ballers. However, running back's a big need for them. Why are you waiting until rounds 5 and 6 to pick a running back with all those good running backs that were available? Makes no sense whatsoever. Caleb Banks, like you said, big dude, Thieneman sitting there, and that's who you go with, Caleb Banks, where, it was, I think everybody's 50-50 on him, right? What he could do, right? Coulda, shoulda, woulda, right? Yeah, I don't have much else to say about Minnesota. Minnesota.
But our guy, Jay Golday, they did get him. I will say that. So they did a good job.
Best thing they did. Most solid pick that they made. Everything else is a close your eyes and make a wish.
Yep. G, good look on your part with Golday. He's somebody that you stuck with. I wasn't sure why, but one thing about you is once you get your mind on something, it's not going nowhere. And that was a real good one. Yeah. Once you
were definitive about it.
Yes.
Yeah, I liked what I saw with him.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
All right, the New England Patriots.
Do we have to do this?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. If we could just skip over them, but.
Right. Well, you want me to start Guru in this one?
Absolutely.
Two strong O linemen, Lomu and Crownover. Good players. Tremendous edge. And now the name I hear them saying on Jacques, everybody else calls it Yakis without the J. Yakis and outstanding player. I think Yakis is, the X factor of the draft that has not gotten a lot of acclaim. And then someone else that hasn't gotten a lot as well, probably one of my favorite players, believe it or not, Guru on Alabama, is Jam Miller. I think Jam Miller, you give him a little bit of light on a situation like that, he could make a team. It's going to be difficult for him because I think from what I saw, well, he got drafted in the 7th round, but I think I put him where Isaiah Pacheco and the rest of those other folks are. In the right situation, they have, New England has strong running backs. We know that, but you never know what can happen with them. The good part about the draft is New England drafted people, including the tight ends, even though they have these different people, and they didn't make any presumptions on who they had already. I think they went out there with the chance that something could change. So I thought New England had a good draft. I'll say a good draft for New England, and they actually went about their business in a good way too. So I'm going to say a good draft for the New England Patriots.
This is one of the few times I'm going to smile relating to New England because I thought that their draft was just one step above crap. So, and
Yeah,
I'm happy about that. So I mean, other than Yakas, I mean, I don't know if the rest of these cats. And I mean, I wish them all the best. I do. I say, but I think that New England wasted his picks, except for round two getting Yakas. That's mean and ugly, but yeah, it was just bad.
Yeah, in retrospect, I think I had them graded a little bit higher than the actuality of the situation and looking at it again. Um, but one thing I want to say about the Patriots, and I think they agree with you, G, they blew a golden opportunity actually. Do you guys realize that they're top 10 in the major offensive and defensive categories, all of them?
wow.
Yeah,
So we don't think of New England as being the rich or getting rich, but they had an opportunity to get over the hump possibly here and just failed miserably. I mean, who's their wide receiver threat? They didn't draft one wide receiver.
and that's
Yeah,
a top five need.
Did not draft how do you not draft a wide receiver when you're losing your best wide receiver?
But
yeah.
they got 36 million, so maybe that's what they're gonna go use it for.
Oh man, dumb me. Am I playing dumb or am I acting? Because
Nah,
we know what's happening after June 1st, right?
you're right. Well, that's why I was sitting here. I was like, okay, Juju, I got you, man. I got you on
I'm
that.
trying not to bring it up, man. But yeah,
Well,
they're
it's a
gonna
reality,
satisfy that. But they still should have drafted another one because so you're gonna have him.
right? That's
So
what
we'll
I'm saying.
double it up. We'll go zone. We'll double up. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
You got to have another threat.
True that.
But big dude, I have an asterisk in my notes next to Jam Miller.
right.
I'm glad you brought him up. As a Bama fan, he truly, truly irked me in the way he ran the ball. I
Right,
mean, he ran right into the stuff every time. Or he danced around too much and didn't go.
right.
Hmm.
But I think he's one of those running backs that's going to be a better professional than he was a college running back.
I
Huh.
agree.
Because Alabama had high hopes for him. I mean, he was supposed to be our chuck wagon, and nuh-uh. And he would have probably saved a lot of the criticism that Ty Simpson ended up getting if we had any semblance of a run game. And that's the only thing that you can say about Ty Simpson in the critique. Our run game was just non-existent. Probably the first time that I recall in my lifetime, to be quite honest with you. But that's my only thing for New England. But it's a crowded running back room. Does that make you better because you have three good running backs now? Probably not. So, not pleased with what they did. There's nobody that even sticks out to me. First two picks, cool, but after that, and you draft a quarterback instead of getting a wide receiver late. Like, make it make sense to me. Just make it make sense because again, yeah, AJ's coming, but you got to have somebody else. You got to have two wide receivers. So,
At least
G, I'm
that's
gonna
why
let you start off with these Saints because I know how much you love those New Orleans Saints in your division.
I love them a whole lot. Not really. Uh, all right, let's check on their cap space real quick. And what we will find is they got 9 million, which I'm glad because they're not gonna get a good top-notch edge with 9 million. So wonderful. But other than that, I thought their draft was average. Nothing to write home about. I don't see them. I'm looking at my notes right now. I don't see them as having any steals, but they did good. They got some top five people, Jordan Tyson, y'all knew I was high on him. And look, I'm a homer with Lorenzo Styles, so no matter what you think about him, I think the world of him. But nevertheless, I would say it was average. They got their wide receiver, they got their cornerback, they got their needs except the edge, and so they may use that 9 million to just go out and get one good edge would be my guess. Just average, but like a few people there.
Well, I thought that the draft for for New Orleans Saints was a good draft. I mean, getting Tyson is certainly going to add to some excitement with that offense. That's what the offense was missing, that offense that had some other things going, and I think Tyson can get them over the top. Same way on defense. I think Miller is a young prospect, young, strong, quick. At D-line, I think at the 3 technique, they probably could use somebody else probably at the 1 to come in, another big stud to play between the guard and the center. And then, they got also some strong impact players on defense. And looking at looking at Lorenzo Styles, and I say the cornerback from Iowa, those are some big picks. And I know that Guru mentioned, about who would be a better pro. I think Lorenzo Styles, because he's the biggest sleeper, because his brother took all the acclaim that he wasn't able to do. So I think that's going to put him in a better position to perform well and to pull through this camp. And more offensive linemen, at least one. Let's see, they only drafted one, and that's. And with this team and in the division that it's at, I think that's where your Division G has gotten better with offensive linemen. Did really good in free agency. Your free agency is good, but not that great. I say, though, to all those other things through the top, they made some good picks, and it looks like they may have even taken some chances, but they found some diamonds in the rough. So to me, that's what makes it a good draft for them. Good draft.
But y'all have gone and got a kicker. Guru, you got to tell me what you think about that.
Say that again.
Went out and got a kicker.
Who's that?
Who did?
Is it Barry Brown? Is that what KR mean?
For the Saints? Barry Brown's a wide receiver from LSU.
Okay, they had him misnamed here. Okay.
I wonder if they had him kick returner, maybe. KR?
Yeah, he's probably special teams guy.
Yeah, probably kick returner.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's probably how he played there this year.
That's probably going to be his biggest contribution, I would imagine, is noting him as that.
Yep. Yeah.
But New Orleans, not thrilled. I think they have a lot of close your eyes and hope guys that they drafted. They're hoping that Bryce Lance pans out. Styles should pan out coming from that Ohio State system. Only the top 2 picks I'm happy with. And they needed quite a bit. They did get Trevor Etienne in free agency. They got Dave Edwards, and one of my linemen from Buffalo. So that'll help. But, I just have just a little bit over average draft. Nothing that requires additional explanation. Let's hop into the G, man. This might be an interesting discussion here, because I have everyone's grades, obviously, and I'm an outlier here apparently. So, G, why don't you go?
All right. So I thought they filled their needs. If you're looking at the top 5 needs that I saw, and they did get those. So I to me, that's a big deal if you're going to go out and get your needs, right? They have 18.5 in cap space, so they do have some room to maneuver on a few players. Overall, I gave them a below average, even though their first round, they beasted out on that. Not gonna lie, and I do like Malachi Fields out of Notre Dame. But the rest, don't know much about them. I didn't even go look. I mean, I saw where they were ranked in their positions. So, other than Malachi, those Francis and Arvell, after that, it just went down. It's just downhill in my view.
Well, I gave them a gentleman's satisfactory, we'll call it. I don't know what the Giants are doing, to be honest, in this draft. I mean, good start, and I like to start. And kind of like G said, as my mom would say, they were cooking with gas at first. You know, you had Mawagoa, you had Hood, you had Malachi Fields. What's that?
Yeah, they went from gas to a lump of coal.
Yeah. I don't know much about the D lineman from Auburn. I'm sure he's solid. James Travis. And then you got the linebacker from BYU, which I think was a steal. And two linemen they had. But I'm not sure what the Giants were trying to get accomplished in this. They could have used more O-line. They also didn't get a safety. I thought they had their eye on Caleb Downs as well. That was a lot of the talk, that if Caleb Downs was there, they may go ahead and get Caleb Downs. So if you don't get him, and then you got the 37th pick, you could get a corner, then you get a wideout, but then somebody later had to have been there. And I guess they're going to go by their undrafted free agency that they were going to do. But looks like free agency and undrafted free agency for them, I don't think they finished strong with the draft. I mean, although they did get Kelly, I'm not sure about them finishing the last 3 picks with any strategy or a whole lot that's going to be able to help. I could be unpleasantly surprised as an Eagles fan, but I doubt it. And I give them a surprise.
Okay, so I thought the Giants did a pretty bang up job with their draft.
You are an outlier.
You're the worst.
I will admit, I did not like those picks that you just named, big dude. I do not like those 2 6th-round picks. I don't know what that's about. I don't get that. But I think the reason that I like their draft so much, and I'll get into who they pick, but don't ignore the pieces that they already added through free agency. So they added a wide receiver, Darnell Mooney, who he's not a superstar, but he's a legitimate receiver in the league. And they added 2 good defensive pieces, Tremaine Edmonds, who still has a lot left at linebacker, came over from the Bears, was drafted by my boys, and they got defensive tackle Shelby Harris. So throw in those additional pieces on defense, okay, for free agency. Not saying it totally helps me make sense of their draft, but it helps me understand a little bit about it, because I'm like, what are you doing?
That's helpful.
Love the first 4 picks. Absolutely, just crushed it through rounds 3. I mean, Reese, Maui Noah, Colton Hood's going to be a stud. I think Malachi Fields is going to be one of those wide receivers that didn't get enough love in this draft, and I think he ended up in a real nice situation. I would have liked to have seen, the only reason that I don't think they had an excellent draft is I would have liked to have seen them get a running back.
Yeah, that would be
because my boy Hammerhead 2026 is not gonna last too long in the league probably. And he can't be your premier back. You know what I'm saying? You still have to have a premier traditional halfback type of guy in there. So I don't know what their plan is for that. Certainly it better not be to run Jackson Dart, because that's a whole nother situation between the 2 of them. They're going to both always end up under the blue tent.
Yep.
So that was kind of my rationale. And I know I'm going to probably get clowned when we post grades and people see my grade for the Giants, but that's okay. I'll eat that one. I'll eat it. I think they had a good draft. I think the Giants, I'll go on record right now. I know we're nowhere near this show, but I'll say that Giants go to the playoffs next year, and I'll leave it there.
Are you going to put money on?
I would be willing to wager. Not 1,000 wagers, but I'd be willing to wager.
All right. That's some commitment.
The Jets. What do you guys think about the Jets? Gee.
Oh my God. Here's a wait what for you in real time. How much cap space?
I'm going to say $4 million.
Big dude?
I'll say $7 million.
Okay, I'll add those. I'll put those 2 together. 47.5 million.
What?
Wow. What in
That's
the
what this
world's going on?
website is showing. This follows tracking this stuff. And there are two teams that have more.
Oh, man.
Okay, so but what do I grade them? I thought they did above average. I'm actually pleasantly surprised. I don't love or hate the Jets. I kind of feel bad for the Jets, generally speaking, but they actually did a really good job. They got all of their needs. They have top 10 position picks, and I love looking at steals just from a value perspective. If I'm a GM, can I steal something that's going to give me a high reward but a lower risk because they're just really good? They just said, you know what? Tight end is not one of our top 5 needs, but we're not passing up on Kenyon Sadiq. And I'm sorry, I agree with that. I will agree with that. Quarterback, Klubnik out of Clemson. I honestly don't have a problem with that. If you go back and look at him, that's actually a good steal for them. And then also Payne out of Kansas State. I thought VJ, because I was like, VJ, why does that sound familiar? So I actually went back and looked again. I'm like, okay, I remember this dude in the evaluation. Really, really good pick, man. Like top 13 type pick as a safety. I thought they did a heck of a job. I mean, y'all know David Bailey. You know Omar Cooper if you've been watching Indiana. They did a really good job. I don't know what they could have done for me to give them. Yeah, I do know what they could have done for me to give them outstanding, but they didn't do that. But they're definitely above average.
What did you need for outstanding for them, G? What were you looking for?
To get their top 3 needs with their top 3 picks.
Got you.
But I can forgive them for going out and getting Sadiq. You can forgive that.
Okay, G. I think I'm with you on most of this that you mentioned. I would say again, so that type of player with and Sadiq and their quarterback situation, you need somebody exciting, somebody you can get the ball to, and I think something to open up the offense and something for everybody to get excited about. The Jets are, again, they're just one of those organizations that keep finding a way to mess it up. I think that's why they had to take them, getting Bailey and all those other folks. And I think they hit a grand slam by getting Bailey, Sadiq, Cooper, and Pons, and I think Pons is the outlier that people didn't look at. They look at his size, he's 5'8", 5'9", 170, but he fights like a bull. This is a guy that fights like a bull and can turn and run with people, and is I would say as graceful as a gazelle at times, but hard tackler. So he has a whole lot of different attributes, but they made strong picks throughout, even the late picks, where they got Inez Cooper, the guard from Miami. So I would say that the Jets answered the call. They had a plan, they stuck to it. They pretty much got the best players in each round. They did well without having a 3rd round pick. And G, you mentioned the rest of the folks. The young man from Clemson is a special player as well. I don't know what they're going to do with him. They did not, and the thing that kept this from being an outstanding draft is they didn't draft any old linemen other than Inez Cooper. Yeah, Cooper was not enough. I'd say 4th round, there should be a lineman in there. I don't know if they could use another quarterback. I like Klubnik. I don't, I just don't know if he's going to get his opportunity or he's going to be able to help early. He'll be another person that needs to sit and watch. The Jets should have nobody they pick that should sit and watch. So great, outstanding draft, but just under, an excellent draft because of missing an O-lineman and the fact that they got a quarterback and it doesn't benefit them much. The Jets, hey, as Apollo Creed said, there is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow. They did well, but there is no tomorrow.
I love that quote. I love that.
Yeah.
I think the Jets, at least tied with the best draft up to this point.
Mm-hmm.
You made a great point, though, big dude. Did not do anything on that offensive line. I was even looking at their free agent signings, all defense. Their
Mm.
biggest free agent signings was Joseph Asai, an edge, Demario Davis, linebacker, who you guys remember on the live stream, Josh mentioned Demario Davis has got some years on it. So he's got a 1-year contract. What's he going to give you outside of maybe some leadership? I don't see him adding a whole lot at his age. And then David Onyemata, a defensive tackle. Excuse me. So they added some defensive guys. Their draft was just a monster draft. Listen to this receiving core. You now have Kenyon Sadiq to go with Garrett Wilson, and then I'm gonna call them the Indiana Twins.
Oh my
Are you
goodness.
serious? Who's gonna match up with that?
That's just crazy.
You know, if they're all on the field at the same, that's a problem. If they're
Yeah.
But can
That's
they
a serious-
quarterback get it to him? Geno Smith and Geno.
well, I'm gonna get into the quarterback situation, okay? So I think Geno's at the point where the Geno that we saw in Seattle was a little bit of a mirage. And I think he came closer to where Geno is now at the end of his tenure in Seattle. And I love Geno. Loved him at West Virginia. Been rooting for the guy. That's it, man. We on the way down now. Concave down. We're on the other side of it now, right? I'm gonna go out on the limb and I'm gonna say and I don't know who their other quarterback on the roster is right now, but if things go left, I'm putting Cade Klubnik in if they feel like he's progressed enough. I'm putting him in there. Because if you think about the Jets, as good as their draft was, this is almost a throwaway year. And I don't like, the concept of teams tanking and all that. But get yourself up there again next year. Let this see. Maybe he can play. Because if he can play, and let's say you guys lose a lot of games and you find out you got a quarterback, what you can do next year is you can do a bunch next year because you don't have to have a quarterback. You could still get one, but you don't have to have one. And maybe if you end up with a high pick, you can play around with that and get multiple players from a team that does want a quarterback. So I think if Geno's not putting us in a position where we can make some noise, I'm going Klubnik if they feel like he's ready to go in. Other than that, draft is ridiculous. When I think about, because they're in my boys' division, obviously, when I think about having to face that receiving core with Sadiq twice a year, I'm not looking forward to that, man. I'm really not looking forward to that. Now, the good thing going my boys' way will be Geno will be the quarterback. So we should be able to get to him. But, yeah, I think the Jets nailed it. I think the Jets absolutely nailed it. Big dude, we're going to save these Eagles for last so you can have your floor, baby. G, you go first. I'll chime in, and then we're going to leave it to big dude.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not going to take too much time because I want the expert. I want y'all to hear more from him than me.
Oh, that's
so
okay.
I will just start with Eagles cap 25 million. So they're in that top third of availability. So y'all have some good cap room, man. But look, y'all had above average. I would definitely call it above average. I love your first 3 picks. I thought those were like really, 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 really good. You did get some steals in I thought in round 5. You got the gentleman from North Dakota, Peyton. I actually thought that was a good pickup. Y'all know how I feel about some of the players that come out that level. But the thing when I sit back and I am objective about it with him, he rolled. He put up big numbers. So I'm actually kind of comfortable with that. I don't know. I hear from you, big dude. I thought that Umar Bernard, I thought that right there, that's going to be a very, very, very interesting story in the NFL. And he could not have gone to a better team. So I think you all, when you said diamond in the rough, I was saving it for this person, this young man here. That's a diamond in the rough. And honestly, what I would do is I would check my counterpart in the Canadian League so he can get brought up to speed there and then bring him back. So that's just me. So I'm going to close out with this. Overall, above average. Really, I can't really say I'm mad at anything per se with them. But the only thing is I wanted them to get maybe one more tackle. That was the thing I think that they were missing. They could have gotten one more tackle, maybe not more defensive tackle, another offensive tackle.
I agree.
But
Yeah, for me, I don't really have anything negative to say about their draft. As high as I was on Cole Payton, um, if I had to pick something, I'm like, yeah, I don't know about a quarterback that high. And you could have got something else maybe, but I have a problem with the pick at all. I would have liked to have seen them get a run stopper. But, the Eagles, again, their statistical rankings may not show it, but they're a rich that stays rich as well. So let's not get it twisted. And I agree 1,000% with this Bernard kid. I do not know if you guys saw the clips that have been posted today of this guy.
Yes.
And what he is. Man, look. You guys got something special, man. You got something. He's ready to go, man. Once he learns, he just got to learn how to do it because he's going to do it. You believe that. And I think G had an excellent idea. Go someplace, get your feet wet, kind of learn the game a little bit more. But this dude, man, I don't even know what you do with him. I mean, they have him as a defensive tackle, but my God, he could probably play linebacker. He could probably play edge.
I'm kind of mean, and you kind of picked up what I was thinking. With his gifts, I would probably put him in the middle of my linebacking core.
And just let him go.
Close, or you can pull him back a little bit. And either way, he's plugging up those runs. He's stopping those cats coming across the middle. He's big enough. He can jump enough to get them hands up to block a pass. I would put him in the middle and just let him work.
Yeah, and like G said, but no better place that he could have possibly landed. I mean, there's no, and you guys have already shown success with your international players, big dude. I mean, so I don't expect anything less with this guy. Mm-hmm. This is going to be must-see TV. I'm going to tell you that much right now. So I got nothing else for the Birds, man. Extremely high. Gave him just a nick, but they're right at the top of the class in terms of draft. Mm-hmm. The floor is yours, sir.
Okay. And I'll try not to be too much longer. I think you all covered it. And as you all know, part of my requirements and part of the way I teach a class is I look at how you grace yourself in a class and look at how they grace themselves in a draft. And I know Howie pulls out a lot of things, but it doesn't do anything for me. It drives me nuts. And but
everybody loves Howie.
Yeah, well, good trade activity. Tremendous gamesmanship versus the Steelers. In fact, Steelers had total opposite of that. But really good first round pick. I still thought a lineman could have been considered. It probably was. But I think once Caden Proctor got drafted, that went out the window. I think we were holding on to that. And then Sadiq, no one thought that Sadiq was going to go that high either. The surprising tight end pick, Stowers from Vandy, I think was the biggest thing. They're just more and more that I see what else Stowers did. Stowers is another guy, not as fast as Sadiq, but Stowers plays in the slot as well. So with this new offense, whatever it is, and I still haven't figured it out, he'll be fine and he'll do well, and we'll see what else happens, how he plays with Dallas Goedert. But, one of those tight ends we had, has to go. I know we probably will have some 3 tight end sets. That's why a lot of people wonder what we're going to do with Markel Bell, which is a good pick, maybe a little early, but it got done. And with this 3 tight end set, this is, believe it or not, how the Eagles are going to get him going. He's another guy that has to watch, but you got to find a place for him on the field. So 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 1. Put his 6'9" imposing self on that field as one of the tight ends, reporting to the official saying number 70 reporting for eligible, please, and throw
nice.
that ball up to him. You know,
That's
I
interesting.
say, yeah, that's how you bring him
Oh my
in
God.
as the 3rd tight end. And he's got to be able to block people. He's got to give real action. He's got to mix it up. They can't wait to just get him started. He can't watch if you're going to use him. So, and if something happens and Lane Johnson is going to be out next year, he will have had some game time. So they did well with the defensive players. You all mentioned Bernard, who's the international player as well. We'll see. He's got that international slot that they have, so the Eagles don't have to do anything else with their squad, their practice squad. They get an IPP slot that they'll use Bernard for. So he'll be there, and he'll get some stuff done. Him going away at some point wouldn't be bad either. That CFL, UFL, something where he goes and does some other things. But most of these people that we talked about, they can contribute as the season unfolded. There was a great pick, of course, through the trade and through giving up some of the different resources that we have in capital to get Jonathan Greenyard from the Vikings. I thought that they did a good job by knowing what to do with the draft capital with the compensatory picks. Also picking up the guard from Georgia was big. The quarterback, I was not a real big fan of. I'm glad to have him. I think we can do something with him. And hey, let's do some let's do some gadgets or do something with him like the Saints did with their quarterbacks. Let's see if we can open up the game, open up the playbook some more. So I thought because of the quarterback situation and how we dealt with it, bringing this young man in and think is okay, understanding his value is okay. I think that's where I nicked him at. I think the international player is a lot of hope. I just don't. My thing is, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time getting him ready. Get him ready, and let's find out what he does and what he knows. So I say that it was a very good draft for the Birds. I tell them to also take a look at their undrafted free agents as well. Just like we talked about the other day, they have some undrafted, and they have the tight end, the starting tight end, Daquan, I forgot his last, from Ole Miss, who will also be another tight end. We'll see if he can make the team as an undrafted free agent. So good picks. I think we all covered the Eagles pretty well, and we'll see how it works, and we'll see how this new safety is in 7th round. Can they do something from Texas Tech? They got a great defense, Wisniewski, and we'll see. So let's wrap up the Eagles and say good draft for the Eagles. We'll see how early some of these people contribute, but I think just about everybody they drafted can contribute early in some way. So let's go, Birds. You still got a lot of work to do.
Where does Andy Dalton fit in?
He's the backup, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a great backup to have.
Well, you got Tanner McKee. Tanner McKee.
Well,
they haven't
you think Tanner
traded him
McKee's
yet.
going to be too? Because I'm hearing Dalton's going to be the backup.
He will be, but I guess that'll be. We'll know for sure if they trade Tanner McKee, because for some reason they're holding him. I don't know why they're holding him, because to me that's the easy thing for me is to unload McKee, because McKee's going to be okay.
Well, he didn't do himself any favors in that Washington game.
No,
I think the fans turned on him quick in that one.
Yeah, and you can count this fan the same way. So, yeah, I'm okay with Dalton being the backup in that. And we need people that know what's going on to help this new offense run the way it should run, whatever it is.
All right, so I got a few more quick things about the Eagles. I really like Deontay Lawson. He's an undrafted free agent. I think he ends up being a pivotal part of the team at some point. This Bernard kid, to go back to him real quickly, Did you guys happen to see the clip of his basketball training?
Yes.
Athlete, athlete. When I saw that, I'm like, okay, yeah, they'll figure it out with him. But yeah, I just wanted to bring up those 2 points. I think the Eagles will be solid. They have been for the last decade, so I don't see it changing anytime soon.
Nope.
Big dude, you want to set us off with Pittsburgh, sticking in the state of Pennsylvania?
Yes. Well, as I just mentioned, gamesmanship means a lot. The Steelers did not show any gamesmanship. So nick them off the bat with that whole situation that was going on with Mekhi Lemon. They did not handle that well, and they were not prepared to handle it well. But a good first-round pick, but they rebounded and responded well by getting Maxi Hanature. I thought they showed a lot of guts by taking Hanature where they took him at. The 21st pick is not where a lot of people thought that Hanature would be. He just had a great Senior Bowl and a great year, and all you guys talked about Dunker and what Dunker was going to be able to do, and just the way he was going to represent himself. He kind of represents himself as somebody that would have played for the Steelers even in the 70s, in the 80s, and and I think Bernard. Was it Bernard? Yeah. Of course, the wide receiver from Bama is going to make a difference to stretch the field, to be short, to be long. And I think whoever is going to be the quarterback, it's a new good person for him to have. And of course, there's a lot of big discussion about whether the Drew Aller pick was a good pick. I had my questions about it myself because I didn't know if they were really going to use him. That tells me that the fact that they got him and they got him in the round that they got him in the third round, 76 pick, that they're going to seriously consider him in some ways. If not this year, when you start to get to the second part of the season, I'll see where him and Will Howard are. They have their veteran quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, because no one knows Aaron Rodgers, whether he comes back or not. I think they have folks they have a healthy competition, but all those quarterbacks, and I think Aller, while he's an Ohio young man, he really is going to have to understand what it's like to play in Pittsburgh, and they offer no excuses. Aller, of course, his health is questionable, and I think the Steelers made some good picks late. With the defensive tackle from Notre Dame and a safety from Oklahoma, Robert Spears. So I would say the Steelers in between, I would say, an average draft and a solid one, But the gamesmanship in the beginning and how they handle things and all, it's a nick. But good future for the Steelers with the group of people that they got. So I say, go Steelers. I'll say, since we don't really play them hardly, but I think it was a good. I think it was good for the Steelers, and a lot of guts taking a Hanature. That's what I have for the Steelers.
Love you rooting for the AFC teams against me there, big dude.
Sorry.
Well, not a whole lot to add. I thought it was pretty average. Their first two picks, I thought that those were really, really good. I thought Dunker in the third round as guard, I thought that was a steal. Also Everett from Georgia, I thought that he was a steal at cornerback. So I thought they definitely had some good pieces in there. Drew Aller, they needed quarterback. I think Pittsburgh, I want to say Pittsburgh did have Aaron Rodgers for 1 year, like $15 million a year or something like that. Looking at a free agency site that says it, but I'll need to confirm that. But he need a backup. So and so they have one with the law. They didn't get linebackers. I thought that they would have went out and got some linebackers in this particular draft. They have some needs, so maybe they'll use the $14 million to try to get them one or two. But I thought it was good. Wouldn't call it above average or outstanding, just good.
Yeah, I would say the Steelers draft was good. Nothing more, nothing less. but they have an interesting roster shaping up. I will say based on what they have going on here, that Rodgers will definitely be back. I don't know what games are about, but you now have in your receiving core DK Metcalf, Pittman, and Jeremy Bernard. And that is going to be an offense that's going to be tough to deal with. Rodgers played much better last year than he had the last few years since, leaving Green Bay. So I think there's some hope for that offense. Defensively, I don't know what they're going to do. They didn't stop a lot of teams last year, and they didn't do a lot to make me think they're going to stop anybody in the upcoming year. But I do like Robert Jennings, the safety from Oklahoma. And I like the 4 picks you guys named them, Mihana Bernard, Everett Dunker. Not thrilled with anybody else they picked. I'm pretty sure the Gabriel Rubio guy will probably be formidable, at least enough to make the practice squad. I'm going to give him that benefit of the doubt coming from Notre Dame. They're usually pretty tough in the middle. Other than that, the quarterback situation, going back to that. So that's going to be an interesting quarterback room as well, because I'm hearing a lot of good things about Will Howard. Now, I preferred Kansas State version of Will Howard. I didn't think he progressed at Ohio State. And this may feed into your theory, G, in terms of what your boy does with the offense there. I thought Will Howard, based on how he played at K-State, could have literally came to Ohio State and been a Heisman finalist from what I used to see when he was at K-State, but I didn't see that Will Howard. He had some moments, some big games, but now throwing in Drew Allard. And I'm going to say, I wasn't a fan, and I've really been in thought about this, and I don't know if Big Dude's just convinced me. Like, in my head, I'm hearing your voice. He has the capability. Yeah. I've never doubted his capability. I guess I soured on him because every year I'd be like, okay, this is going to be the year he's going to lead Penn State back to where they're supposed to be, and then nothing. But being behind Aaron Rodgers, this might be the ticket for him. If Rodgers can give Pittsburgh 2 more years of good ball, Drew might be ready, man. Can't believe I'm saying that, but he could be ready if Will isn't ready. That's
what I was thinking too, man.
So that's just my comments with them, but just good. Nothing mind-blowing. I wasn't oohing and on when their picks came in. They'll be fine. They won't make the playoffs. I'll go on record saying that. So, so we'll see what happens with them. The San Francisco 49ers, another one of those interesting teams. I don't even know where their franchise is right now, to be quite honest with you. They didn't have a first-round pick, which they needed one, but Big Dude, you want to start us off with the Niners?
Yes. I thought they had a nice draft. And we'll quickly say they were really good with their gamesmanship and their ability to really trade and not get anything in that first round to offer for more second-day picks. I know, Guru, you told us about, in the second round, the 33rd pick that they got Stribling from Ole Miss. I think Stribling is going to be an early and a person that is kind of undercover that is the opposite, the converse or inverse, I believe it is, to the David Bailey on the other side. Can offer you almost the same thing. Maybe it's half a step slower than David Bailey, but him coming in at the edge for San Francisco is tremendous, and I think you can take the harness off of Romello Height. Has a lot to prove, and I think he's ready to prove it, as well as the rest of their defensive line. But overall, they had a strong draft. They probably could have had an offensive lineman or 2 more. Getting the gentleman from Kansas, Enrique Cruz Jr., I think was a good pick late. But I think they may probably want to look at the next generation of O-linemen for San Francisco. Their running backs are starting to get some age on them, and you need some horses to lead the way for you. So I'm going to say San Francisco had a very, very solid pick times for the draft. I think that they did well.
Well, I'm tell you something. I'm sure my grade on this, I'm sure when you saw it, Guru, you was like, what the heck?
No,
because
because mine was right there with you.
I thought they had a crappy draft. Now they got 43 million in cap space still, but their draft was like, ugh. So I will say the top three not great. These are not, top 10 position ranked players, but they are top 20. So I mean, it's not completely horrible. So hopefully they'll be able to actually do some good work while they're there. But I just thought they missed. I just really thought they misused their picks. So I thought they could have done. And I like those top three: Stribling, Height, and Black. I like them, just not in second and third round.
Yeah,
So
I'm not as harsh a grader, but as harsh as I get, I got that harsh with them. I don't know if this is probably not going to make sense what I'm going to say. They drafted some good players, but it wasn't a good draft for them, if that makes any sense whatsoever.
Yeah,
These are
no,
yeah,
not guys that are going to help them. Like you said, as high as I am on Stribling, I'm not picking him that high. I'm thinking he's going to be. I'm thinking my boys can get him in the fifth or sixth round. To be quite honest with you, like I'm
mm-hmm,
not. You didn't get a first round pick, and then your first pick in the second round is him.
yeah.
right. I mean,
And,
you
and
had probably too much juice on the board to go get that cat.
Yep,
yeah, and you
yep. Because what? That's the
wonder where the
second.
third. I mean,
Oh, that's the first pick of the round, wasn't it? Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
the
yes,
first pick of the second round.
yeah.
Thank you.
In essence,
My
the edge of the
God.
first.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, nah. And I like I said, I like Height, I like Black, I like Halton. He was one of my top five linemen.
Right.
Nah, not gonna move the needle for them. And in the division that they're in, I think some of these teams sometimes, I don't know if they're jumping the gun, but we've all said this. You have to be attentive to your division first. Because if you can't win your division, forget about anything else.
I hear
And
you.
they're not gonna. Who are they gonna beat? They'll beat Arizona, but you're not beating Seattle, and you're not beating the Rams. So you're gonna end up in the same situation you were last year if you're fortunate, because they were lucky that there was three out of that division. I don't foresee that being the case again this year. They're gonna be the odd team out again. They'll be drafting again. So yeah, I got nothing for them. I got nothing for them.
They
I
better
hope we get
have a heck
Jawan Jennings. I hope we get Jawan Jennings is the last thing I'll say about San Francisco. But
Well, let me see. What is their cat? I want to make sure I get this right. I thought I said it was 40 some million. Let me make sure. Yeah, 43 million. So hope maybe they're gonna go there and get some studs out of free
yeah,
agency.
but the thing at this point, again, you're at the second tier of free agency. Like, what are you really needing? What they need? What are you really gonna get for that money? Like, what are you really gonna get? Because you need another wide receiver probably. Who's gonna be available? AJ's
Mm-hmm,
gonna be spoken for, and even if it's not New England, San Francisco's name wasn't ever a part of that conversation.
mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
No, I
Yeah, I
hear
don't know
you.
what's happening with San Francisco. And I'm a big Lynch guy, but I don't really know what he's doing as GM out there these days. I think he has them competitive, but I don't see them really improving from year to year. And they've had a lot of injuries the last few years too. Let's not discount that. But anyway, the Seattle Seahawks, the world champs. Man, I, I don't know. Go ahead, G.
What was that?
Yeah,
I mean,
and
they're the world champs. I expect them to be as good as they were last year. I don't even care who. I didn't care if they drafted anybody. They were going to be probably as good as they were last year.
and we know you're gonna come up with something heavy, G. So you go right ahead.
Oh,
Yep.
bro. I,
Enlighten us somehow.
Actually, I don't have anything heavy for Seattle. They have 33.5 million in space left, so
Wow.
hopefully they're going to use that, I imagine. I thought they did an average draft. Looking at their top five needs, they met four of them. They have some top five and top 10 position picks. I do think they got a good steal. Um, well, actually, I take that back. I was looking at the wrong note. So no, they didn't really get any steals that I could see. So I mean, I'll just say I did like Jadarian Price. I did like that young man. Um, Bud Clark, we didn't. I don't think any of us mentioned him.
You
Oh
did. He
no,
was one of your guys.
Yeah,
He
he
was one of
did.
your
You
top
did.
five safeties.
that's
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
That's
he,
my
yeah,
dudes.
Yep.
Oh
yeah.
yeah,
I was like, okay.
You threw him and Genesis Smith on us at the end of your five.
right.
Yeah,
You're right.
right,
You
right. You were
are
pretty
right.
insistent about Bud Clark too.
You are absolutely right. I'm lunching, y'all. Don't worry. Don't
No,
bother me.
that's it.
But after that, man, it just kind of drops off in my world as I can evaluate them. So yeah, I just thought they did average.
Seattle, I thought they had a good draft. Them picking, Jadarian Price. People don't understand. That's why I think that they're going to keep getting up as long as Price stays healthy. But this young man has been ready, and he's played well. And like you said, for Notre Dame to have two running backs picked in the first round, that's something. With a guy that's off the bench in 700 yards, well, it's going to be interesting to take that second guy who's really a first guy in most systems and ready to go. And of course, just about all the other picks, including Bud Clark that you mentioned, G, they have high upsides. Also, Julian Neal has a high upside as well. So most of the draft that they got had high upsides, and I'd say one more edge or probably one more old lineman needed. And the other pick I thought was a good pick was the center from Iowa, Bo Stevenson, that can also play guard. Stevens, that can also play guard. So they have, the thing about Seattle is they don't all have superstars coming out of college, but they're all serviceable and they all know what their spot is and what their role is. And the way that they rolled, New England last year, everybody pretty much stayed where they were. And I think you have a group of people in this class that represents the same thing: all functional, all serviceable, and they have a high upside. So I'd say a very good draft by Seattle.
Yeah, I would agree. They had a good draft. They had some really good free agent signings. Pretty much everything they lost, they kind of recouped in free agency. And certainly with that first pick with Jadarian Price, replacing Kenneth Walker, they're not going to miss a beat. I love the Bud Clark pickup. The first thing you said, G, made me think, and I know this isn't what we're doing on this particular episode, but just food for thought, probably for later discussion, and we'll see what happens with it. With that free agency money they have, Jawan Jennings would be a very interesting addition to their wide receiving core, in my opinion. I don't know what type of money he's looking for, but that'd be something, too, to stay in that division and to see his old team twice a year would be very, very intriguing. But I thought Seattle had a really good draft. I mean, they didn't need a whole lot. They were top 10 again in the major categories. The rich, tired of the riches. I don't think they really did much from the middle to back end of their draft, but I don't think they needed to do that much. I think they kind of, you know what they did? They picked because they had draft picks. That looks like that's what their approach was.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Because
saying?
yeah. I mean, they want people that are in there that's going to kind of fit their scheme. So they're kind of like almost the way New England used to be.
Mm-hmm. And the one name I'm going to throw out there, this Andre Fuller kid, the cornerback that was drafted in the 7th round from Toledo. Toledo's becoming that school for DBs, man. Just kind of put an asterisk by that name.
Andre Fuller.
But Toledo has put a couple of good players in the league.
Yeah, they're starting to make some noise there. So just make a note of that one. I got nothing else for Seattle. I don't think they'll repeat, but they'll certainly be in position to.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, the Bucks again. I thought they did but above average. They got about 13 million in cap space. So they did not get the cornerback that was one of their top 5 needs. So maybe they're going to use that money to get them a cornerback. They did get them some top 5 and top 10 picks. I thought Keontae Scott out of Miami. I thought that was a really, really good catch right there. So that fits a steal in my book. I think their top three is actually pretty good. Was Ted Hurst your dude, Guru? Was he on your list?
Yeah, that was Guru's.
Yeah, I thought so. So yeah, I think those first four picks. I am happy with those. It just drops off after that, and they didn't get cornerbacks what they needed. So that's why I give them a B. The knock is not getting any cornerbacks, which is a
Okay,
top.
right. And I think it was a outstanding draft that has all those people that you mentioned, G. I call them. I would call the theme of Tampa Bay's draft. The first four are impact players. I say that's the theme. First half impact players. The other half we'll see. Gaines Jr. Josiah Trotter, who his value continues to increase, and all that he's doing, playing sideline to sideline and playing a very physical linebacker. And now Keontae Scott, you said they didn't have a corner. Now Keontae Scott is listed as a corner.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't, but
right.
I think but you know what though? A lot of the highlights that we saw, it didn't seem that way. It seemed like he was more of a safety. And I understand it because he is more of a kind of like Cooper DeJean. He's going to be like a slot corner. His thing is lining up close to the line, covering the slot, coming up and making the tackles for run support. So I think that's where I think that's why a lot, because they still have him listed as a corner, and he still can play corner on the outside. He's better on the inside. So they were strong out the gate with the first four players. Yep. A lot of new energy, and I certainly believe that they will all four of those people will contribute, and the team will improve. And hopefully, there's a pleasant surprise in the last three. But I would say that this was a very good draft for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which theme is impact players that will make a difference early. I think you'll find them in the ball game and making a difference.
Yeah, I like what they did at the top of their draft. I think Ted Hurst is going to be a superstar for them. Great replacement for Mike Evans. I don't really have much else to say about those top four, but one guy I do want to bring out is this Billy Schroth kid from Notre Dame, the guard that they took at the end of the 5th round. Watch out for him. I think that, again, I'm big on Notre Dame linemen, and I'm not big on Notre Dame anything.
Right.
But I'm big on Notre Dame guys in the trenches, and I think that he'll be somebody that has a good chance of making that roster and contributing to improving their line. I'm very disappointed that they didn't do more on the offensive line, because Baker Mayfield is running for his life every game I watch.
Yeah, he is.
That's true.
So I don't know what their plan is for that, but good luck to them. I mean, their defense got better. They got Alex Anzalone in free agency. They got Deshaun Robinson, your guy, G from Carolina. So their defense should be a little bit better, and based on some of the guys that they picked up here. But what are you going to do offensively? You can't protect your quarterback. You're not going to be able to do a lot.
Yeah, I'm looking at their free agency signing, man, and they got a left guard, but I think that's the only one I'm seeing.
Yeah, so I don't know. Did you see what their cap was?
Yeah, Tampa Bay has $13 million left.
So that's not a lot. If you're talking about getting a premier offensive lineman, that's not a lot of money to play with. So one less team you guys will have to worry about in the NFC, particularly you in your division, G. One less team to worry about.
Like you say, man, you have to get out the division first.
Exactly. Now, these Tennessee Titans.
Ooh, boy.
This might be a team on the come up, and maybe they'd be a draft away, but we'll get into it. G, you want to start there?
Yeah, I can definitely do that. So while you were talking, I was pulling up their cap space. Whoo, boy. This is another wait, what? Guess what you think.
Don't they have like $75 million or something like that?
What's your guess, big dude?
I'll go reverse. I'll go 57 million.
Both of y'all danced around 63.
Yeah, I thought it was
Yeah.
pretty high. Theirs is the highest, if I'm not mistaken, right?
They are the highest. They are first.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're gonna go out and they're gonna get some of what they need. I'm comfortable with that. But I gave them definitely above average. They went out and got all their needs. You know, they got top players, like top 10 players. It's great. They went out and got Nicholas Singleton, one of your dudes, big dude,
Mhm.
at running back, which I thought
Yeah.
was a steal at running back. You know,
Yep.
if I'm the Tennessee Titans fan, I am really happy with what they did. Now, here's the thing: they I thought they could have gone some an extra offensive lineman, particularly a tackle or something like that. I thought that would have been better, because they didn't really need to get a tight end or a defensive tackle, and they went out and got those. But you needed O lineman. So that's the reason why I knocked them. But beyond that, man, I thought they did really, really good.
And I say Tennessee, I say ditto to that, as my wife would say, ditto. Strong draft, strong playmaker, Tate, who is going to be fabulous for sure, and they needed him. Tremendous defensive prospects. No one sleep again on what Keldrick, and I don't want to say take it to the bank, but I'll say he'd be up for Defensive Player of the Year as a rookie. I don't know if they have those events for Rookie of the Year.
That's confidence in that pick.
Yeah. I like that pick. That's one of my better ones that I've seen, being able to put his video and everything together and learning more about it. And of course, we'll see what Anthony Hill can do, sideline to sideline player from Texas. Will he be able to fit in Robert Saleh's defense? And how much will Robert Saleh responsibility they give him? I know Saleh is all about giving the responsibility, a lot of responsibility to players. He coaches them, but then he wants them to carry it on. And of course, Singleton as a return man, as a running back, they have their running back, as well, so they're in pretty good shape. And then stealing Pat Coogan, the center. I thought Coogan probably should have gone fourth round, but getting him as sixth round as a center from Indiana, Coogan is solid all around. I don't think he is an all-star with tremendous athleticism. He's a get-him-done guy that can get him done, that doesn't make a whole lot of mistakes. So I'm going to say that's a good way to round out the depth of your O-line and a good way to round out the depth of your draft and also your roster. So I think that Tennessee will get a little bit better this year. And I'm going to call it just short of an excellent draft. They probably could have got one more O-lineman, but one short of an excellent draft.
Yeah, I think they had a very solid draft, and I think we're all in agreement on the O-line situation. Would have liked to have seen more there, especially when you're going to get a running back like Singleton. You have a young quarterback still. You gotta get O-line in there. Carnell Tate's definitely going to help. I think we're going to hear a lot of Ward to Tate for a long time. Get ready.
That's going to be fun football, man.
That's going to be very fun. And I'm happy for the people down there, man. They love football. And even though those Titans were terrible for the years that I lived down there, they loved them, man. They loved them. So I'll be happy for them to have something to cheer for shortly. And I agree with you on Keldrick Falk. Big dude with Robert Saleh as the coach. He fell into the right hands there. So I think they're going to be good. And I don't know if you guys remember a rapper called YZ from probably the end of the 80s. But my boy, his government name is Anthony Hill, and he has a line in there. Anthony Hill ain't your average run-of-the-mill. That's my guy, Anthony Hill Jr. Wow. He's going to make some noise, man. He's going to make some noise. Again, those two edges working on the solid system, that'll be some work. Singleton, I think, is going to be a beast for them. I just think that all of these guys that they picked landed to me in the perfect situation because not a lot's going to be expected out of his first year. So they got some time to learn. And, nobody expecting Tennessee to win the South this year, right? We expect them
Right.
to get better and to learn each other. The big thing for them, you have a new coach. So build your culture, get some camaraderie among your guys. You got some new talent coming in. And then the next 2 drafts, they'll be ready to make a move. Now, they're in a tough spot. You got the Jags, you got Houston, you got Indy. So to come up in that division, it's going to be nasty. You're going to have to go through some stuff. But I believe if they give Salah a chance, that they'll get it done. So I gave them a good draft analysis. I like what they did. Like I said, like you guys, a little bit more on the O-line, but they got a nice chunk of change to work with. So they probably could fix that. So.
Yeah.
And I feel like we should be ending on a team way more exciting than the Washington Commanders, but this is how the alphabet falls. So they're last.
Trying to
You
find-
want to send us home with these jokers?
Shoot, I'm like, where the heck is Washington? Okay, there they go. Washington Commanders, number 2 in cap space, $50 million.
Wow.
So yeah, I thought they did slightly above average with their particular picks. For the most part, they got all of their needs. They could have gotten some DBs, I thought, and they really needed that. But instead, they went out and they got a running back, and that running back was a steal. For them at 6, along with Joseph's out of Tennessee, that was a steal in the 5th round. For them to have to skip the whole 2nd round, only 1 in the 3rd, I actually thought they managed those late rounds really, really well. So I'm really not mad. I hate the Washington Commanders, but I'm not mad at their draft, considering no 4th, no 2nd. I thought they did a really good job.
Well,
I got to throw out Sonny. I was not surprised when he went 7. Not surprised at all. So I know that there was some rumblings about whether or not he was going to drop or not. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Washington did the right thing.
Well, you know what, G? This time I'm going to be the curmudge.
Yeah.
This time I'm going to be the curmudge. No, seriously, Sonny Styles, I'm happy for him. I'm happy he did well. I mean, the thing with Washington in this draft is they got some other, players. They got a strong, one strong edge player from Tennessee. It's hard to tell how he's going to fit. They always get an edge player. They don't have any problem with it, but can they finish just like they had your other defensive end from Ohio State? Haven't heard from him since. I forgot his name.
Yeah, they can be a place where edge rushers go to die, and that's the truth.
Yeah, and I don't understand that, And so Katron Allen, I think is good. He's a slasher. It's hard to tell whether he'll be able to spark the offense and what they're going to be able to use, especially Antonio Williams. Is he going to be able to be one of those people that could be the 3rd receiver, or is he going to be able to at least be out there with Scary Terry? Because Scary Terry's got to have somebody open it up because Scary Terry has so many years left. He's still good, still doing well. They didn't trade him. They made him a whole. They made him. They made it really through a whole lot of different things. But really, just the last pick for me drove me nuts. I mean, it probably should have been another O lineman and D lineman. They probably could have gotten some diamond in the rough. I thought that's what they should have gotten. Getting Callie McManus, that's how you say his name, Rutgers, as the quarterback, who's a good kid and a great spirited player, and that's why you like to watch college football. There is no way in the world when you start talking about who your Mr. Irrelevant is, you don't take somebody who really is irrelevant. So hopefully free agency is the path. And hopefully undrafted free agency, there is some fortune. I would say a barely average draft for the Commanders, whom I hope free agency is the path because they did not help themselves other than Sonny Styles and maybe Katron Allen and one other person to the draft. I don't believe they did well in this draft.
Yeah, I don't have much to say. I got two quick things. This quarterback from Rutgers, blasphemy that he got drafted above Nussmeier, absolute
Right,
blasphemy.
right.
And
Nuts.
Washington will be the same old Washington. They always have a couple of superstars on there, but they won't be able to do anything. Poor Katron Allen and Sonny Styles. Maybe with your first free agency, you can get on a real team, but I got
Just
nothing to
stay
say about
healthy.
Washington. One of my lowest scores for a team.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't do anything as far as I'm concerned to make themselves better. Giants are going to be better. The Eagles are the Eagles. Who else am I missing? And Dallas is going to be better.
Mm-hmm.
Washington's going to they'll finish last. Go on record now. Finish last place in the division. Probably for the next 2-3 years. So we'll track the progress of these draftees. Certainly, mini camp and as the real deal gets underway in July. But thank you once again for checking us out. We are going to take a brief hiatus and catch our breath from all this NFL draft activity. So we'll probably be gone for at least a week and join you back with what we call Chasing Rings Overtime episodes, which will be more abbreviated episodes before leading us basically up until the start of the college and pro football seasons, because that's our focus, football. But in that time in between, we're going to touch on a variety of different topics, current things that are going on in the sports world. Certainly, we'll touch on some football stuff. There's NIL stuff, eligibility. G's got the bomb playoff system that he's about to unleash to fix everything for a college football playoff system. So there'll be a lot of different topics that we'll be covering. And again, these will be Chasing Ring Overtime shows, which will be abbreviated episodes leading up to the start of both the college and professional football season. So a week off, we'll be back with those. Until then, continue to check us out. Please follow us on IG and TikTok. I know a lot of you are watching our videos. We appreciate the love on that, especially following us through the draft. But hit that follow button. Doesn't hurt. Even if you can't check out everything, hit that follow button and definitely subscribe on YouTube. I see some people are starting to view them. Start checking us out. Don't just watch the videos. Hit a like, add a comment, and follow us, okay? So until next time, see ya later.